Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
So let me start the lecture today. What I would be doing in today's lecture, giving you a basic introduction of what dynamics is and how is it different from statics. What through this course we are trying to solve, what is basically the problem statement, what are the steps required for those problem statement, and how we are going to address or solve that problem statement that we are defining through this course. Okay, now if you remember from your undergraduate till now, when somebody said to you, and whenever it was written in the book that a load of P naught is applied, let me take an example of a beam. Okay. And I'm telling you, a load of P naught is being applied on a beam. Okay. Can you tell me how this load P naught is applied? I mean, when I say to you, a load is P naught is applied, nobody told you whether it was applied suddenly or slowly or the way it was applied. You was just stated that load P naught is applied. Now find out the forces at the support or deflections due to this load P naught. Okay. So my first question that arises, how a static load is applied. Okay, so how this load P naught is applied. Till now, you were not concerned about that. Okay, and as you know, if you have a simply supported beam and a load P naught, what is the deflection? The deflection is P naught by PLQ by 48 EI. Now the question is, would it always be like that? Okay, so mark that correction. That should be P naught L cube divided by 48 EI. The naught is missing there. So the question is, would the deflection be always this much, whether I apply it suddenly or slowly? So that is basically these two questions that I want to ask you to connect your undergraduate knowledge, what you have done already done in undergraduate, to dynamics. So whatever you did, most of the things in your undergraduate was basically based on statics. What we are going to do today is to actually bridge that knowledge to the concepts of dynamics. So my question is, the first question, if I told you to draw the time variation of P naught to represent the static load that you have been dealing till now, or you have encountered during your undergraduate courses, out of these four options, which time variation of the force P can be used to represent that load P naught? Remember, P naught is the maximum load that is being applied on that one. Okay. So you need to select one of these four options. Okay. To tell me which option actually represents the time variation of load P naught, the static load P naught. Okay. So either you can scan this or and then fill up the option by going to the web link. What I'm also going to do is the post the link in the MS Teams so that you also have that option. So if you don't have the mobile in front of you, you can just use this one. So I'm going to go ahead here and then I will add to the form in your lecture 1. Okay. So we'll see the survey in front of your lecture 1 as well. If anybody cannot see it or not able to fill, then just let me know either through the QR code or through the options here, and then just fill it up and submit the responses. And then we'll discuss which one basically represents the correct response. Okay. So we just want to streamline this method so that from next time I can make these interactive. It takes a lot of time, but it is very interactive for the class. So I'll make these type of questions and put it in during the class itself. Okay, if all of you have scanned, let me just show the result now. What results, what options you have chosen. So what I'm going to do again, in the same channel, I'm going to post the result now. Okay, so can you see the result now? There is like, competition between two options, option A and option D. Okay, so let us see what are option A and option D. Okay. Okay, so some of you have chosen this option and some of you have chosen the option 4. Okay, now what you are seeing here is a suddenly applied load P naught. Okay, and then load P naught is maintained here. And then the option second is you have load P naught, which is gradually decreasing. Option third option is again load P naught, which is maintained over a time, certain time duration. And then the load, fourth option is you gradually start applying the load till it reaches a value of P naught and then you maintain that load. Okay. So as we would study in dynamics, the static load can be represented most commonly by this ramp load that you see here. And why that is the case, if I see the first option here, what I'm seeing here, there is a load that is suddenly applied, okay, P naught, and then it is maintained. What happens in this case? There is something what is called a dynamic effect. If you want to observe this effect in life, okay, what do? You take a spring, or let us say you take an example of any flexible system. Okay, let me represent it by a spring. Okay, a spring mass. You try to apply a load suddenly. What will happen if you apply the load suddenly? You will see a lot of vibration happening. However, if you apply the same load slowly, you will see that a static or quasi-static equilibrium is maintained during the application of the load, and you won't see a lot of vibration happening. So if we go back to the last slide here, if you have a beam here, and you can actually do some sort of experiments to actually see that. If you have a beam here, and if you take load P naught, let us say you drop a weight, you take a weight, let us say you take a any kind of weight, it could be like, a steel block or something like that, and you drop it on the beam, okay, so that it is being applied very suddenly. Okay, what will happen? It will start vibrating. Okay, however, if you take the same load and gradually put it over the top of this beam, you will see that both of them are applying load which is equal to the weight of this block. However, in one case you can see the lot of vibration, in other case you don't. So the deflection is actually not the same. Plus you will also see when we do the mathematical formulation, the reactions at these two supports are also not the same. Okay, so the important distinction here is what happens depends on the duration over which the load is being applied. Okay, so that brings me to the second question. If I have a static deflection which I represented by P naught L cube by 48 EI, okay, representing the static deflection due to a point load. Okay, I have 4 time representations now. What I want you to do, tell me which out of these 4 representation can best represent or would most likely or give me the value of P naught by P naught L cube by 48 EI. Okay, I hope you understand the question. We have decided that a ramp loading can be used to represent the static load on a body. However, now there are important distinction between these 3 ramp loading options that you see here. It is the time over which these ramp loadings are applied. Okay, so again, same process, either scan the QR code, which would be easier. Okay, or I can also share. So for this option, if you have your phone in front of you, just scan the QR code here. If any of you want me to post the survey on the channel, I'll share the result. But if you want me to post the survey on the channel itself, let me know. I'll do that. Okay, and I'll give you 30 seconds. Okay, done. Okay, let us go and see what you have selected as an option. So I'm again going to, you need to go to the channel again, and I'll just share the result here. So now what I see, there is conflicted opinion and I only see 24 responses. Have some of you not been able to provide your responses? Do you want me to share this again?
Yes, sir.
I'm sharing the QR code again here. Go ahead and submit your responses. Okay, anyway, so let us go through these options. Now options that are updated now. Okay, so what is the important distinction between these three is the duration over this load P naught is achieved. Duration over which this load P naught is achieved. So here you can see TR, which is like, intermediate. This is the smallest TR. And this is the largest TR, which means this is the, or instead of saying smallest, just means see, this is the suddenly or the fastest applied load, and this is the slowest applied load. Okay, and this is somewhere in between. Of course, we can simply disregard this option. Okay, so what I want my deflection to be closest to this value here, which means that this is the static deflection. Okay, so this would be the case where the load would be applied at a very, very small rate or thus at the slowest rate, and which is represented by the option C here. Okay, of course, we are going to get into the mathematical construct of this, why this happens like this, why, like, we are going to calculate if the TR is large, how much actually the value of deflection is, if the TR is like, very small, how much the amplification is, all those things. But this is today is just getting an analytical feel or the analytical feel of the problem. Okay, so this is the option C is the closest for the static load. Okay, so now you understand whatever you did in your undergraduate, nobody asked you how the load was being applied. Okay, and whether it had any dynamic effect in terms of forces and deflection. But after these two slides, you understand even a static load is a very slowly applied dynamic load. Okay, so there is nothing like a static. In a dynamic world, even static is categorized as quasi-static. That is a very slowly applied load. Okay, so keep that in mind when we do further mathematical derivations. Okay, so once that is clear, okay, let us see what basically defines a dynamic system. Okay, so as we discussed, a dynamic system deals the variation of a system or a structure with time. So now we are talking everything in terms of time. Okay, initially we had only the peak value or the maximum value that was given to us. So it was said, let us say 10 kilonewton of force was applied, or let us say 5 kilonewton per meter square of pressure was being applied on a slab. But now we are talking about the time variation of that load, and I've shown you the time variation here. And the question comes, how do we determine, or what are the parameters that can be used to determine whether the system would behave as a static system under the application of load, or whether it would behave as a dynamic system. Okay, so for that, I'm going to show you through some examples. Okay, we discussed that TR or the value, this value here, this plays an important role. So the duration over which the load is achieved, or the peak value of the load is achieved, is actually the rise time. TR is actually the defined as the rise time. Okay, it plays an important role. But the question is that the only factor to consider? Okay, for example, again, let me take the example of that spring. So I have two systems, okay, both with the same property, mass M attached to stiffness K. Okay, in the first one, I'm applying load suddenly. Okay, so this TR is very, very small than the TR of the second one. So I know that the dynamic effect would be higher in the first one. Okay, because I'm applying load suddenly. However, let me consider the second system, okay, on which the TR is same for both these cases. So I'm applying the same load over the same duration, okay. So TR is same for both cases. However, now I have two systems. In the first system, I have stiffness K1. In the second system, I have stiffness K2. And in the first system, K1 is much smaller than K2, which means this system is very flexible. Okay. Which one do you think would have higher dynamic effects? A flexible system or a rigid system?
Flexible system.
Flexible system, correct. That is correct. So flexible system would have more dynamic effect. So can I say, in addition to the load property of the load, so this TR is only the property of the load. Okay, it also depends on the property of the structure, or more appropriately, flexibility of the structure. Okay, and we will see that although I'm saying K1 and K2, it could be different combination of M1 and M2. For example, if the mass is very heavy, it would again behave like a flexible system compared if the mass is light. So Tn, or the time period of vibration, is a more appropriate parameter to characterize that dynamic behavior. Okay, so two important parameters to remember: the time duration of the load and the time period of the system. These two parameters are what determines whether a system would behave like a static system or whether it would behave like a dynamic system. Okay, and how much dynamic amplification happens because of these properties is what we are going to study in later chapters. Okay, so these two parameters you have to keep in mind. Of course, here I'm defining a ramp load, but it could be very well be a periodic load, and in this case TR is replaced by this, let us say, time period of this vibration, the application of whatever the load that is. Let us say it's a harmonic load, so the time period of the applied load, and then I already have the time period of the structure. So here it is TR, but it could be time period of the applied load, or we call it like, frequency of the applied load. So these parameters play an important role in determining whether the system would behave as a static system or a dynamic system under the application of the load. Okay, all right. So let us look at in some of the loads. Okay, so till now in your undergraduate, most of the loads that you had encountered were either dead load or live load. Of course, you also encountered like a moving load or temperature load, but we are not talking about that one, because even the temperature load is a static load. So when we consider dead load, we said that by default we consider dead load as a static load. So somebody would ask you, well, why do you consider dead load as a static load? Okay, so you have to think about how the dead load is applied to a structure. So the way dead load is applied to a structure is basically, what is dead load? The self weight of the structure or anything that is permanently fixed to the structure. Okay, so if you take a structure, you build it over a duration of, let us say, months or years, you add each part of the structure very slowly. Okay, so it does not create any kind of dynamic effect at any point of time. Similarly to live load as well. So if you define the live load as something, let us say, weight of the people or the habitant occupying a building, or like, if you define live load like that, then I can again say, if that load is being applied slowly, that would again act as a static load. However, most of the loads that you would encounter in real life are dynamic load, and some of the examples are earthquake. Okay, now dead load and live load. Dead load, I said that it can be applied over days, months, or years. However, earthquake load, do you know typical duration of earthquake? When an earthquake comes, the typical duration of this earthquake is around 30 seconds or 1 minute, depending upon how strong the earthquake is. Then there could be a wind load. Wind load might act on a taller building. It might also act on suspension bridges. And there could be impact load. Where you would find typically impact load? You might have seen a lot of underpasses and overpasses in Mumbai. When you go around, a lot of overbridges. If you have a vehicle which is hitting the column of a, let us say, a bridge pier, or column of a bridge, then that can be considered as an impact load. Okay, then you could have a blast load. Blast load could be due to accidental explosion, or due to, like, malevolent explosion, like, terrorist attack or things like that. Or you could have a tsunami load as well. All of these loads are applied for very short duration, okay, on a structure, and depending upon the property of the structure, these can be characterized as dynamic load. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you some example of these loads acting on structures in real life in next few slides. So I'm going to show you some videos. You might already have seen some videos, but I'm just going to show this video to get a feel of how these loads act and what kind of effect these loads actually produce on these structures. Okay. So one of the very unfortunate event was, like, in Gujarat we had Bhuj earthquake that was in 2001, and it led a lot of destruction to, like, buildings. Now many of these buildings, newly built buildings, actually fell down due to earthquake. So most of these buildings were actually designed for vertical load, static load, which were dead and live load, and these loads act vertically. However, an earthquake is a horizontal dynamic load. Okay, so these earthquakes, if they were not designed for an adequate horizontal load, it led to failure of these buildings. Okay, so these are one of the examples. I will show you a video as well. This is a video of us captured by a CCTV of Nepal earthquake. I'm not going to go through the whole video. I'm just going to show you chunk of these videos. Okay, so I mean, these are very interesting, like, videos that are available. You can go on YouTube and try to find out some of the earthquake, like, captured by cameras and the effect it produced on different type of structures. So this is just one of the structure that actually fell down. A lot of historical structure also fell down in Nepal, actually, because of this earthquake. And because it is very recent, we had a lot of examples like that. So not only that, we have a lot of, I'll show you. See, some of these buildings start to shake when the earthquake comes. People moving towards the center of the street so that they can duck themselves from the falling buildings and the structures. And you can see some, I don't know whether the structure falls here or not. Let us just wait for that. Okay, relatively better performance here. I don't know whether the peak has yet come or not. Okay, so you have to remember that, I mean, earthquake in itself cannot produce any kind of substantial damage if you are on a flat ground. I mean, of course, if you don't consider landslide or things like that. Most of the times, the deaths that happen are because of the people living inside a structure. So, like, there's a saying that earthquakes don't kill people; it's the structures that do. So you need to design your structures to withstand those kind of effects. Okay, so I'm just going to again, so you can go ahead and have a look at these video online. These are available on the YouTube. I'm just going to go to the next.